The night was a symphony of water, a loud, steady drumbeat against Tom's windowpane. Rain poured down from the sky, not just a gentle sprinkle, but big, fat drops that splashed onto the street and made little rivers flow down the gutters. It was the kind of night that made you want to stay inside, wrapped in a warm blanket, with a hot cup of cocoa. And that's exactly where Tom was, cozy in his small apartment, far away from the wet world outside. He sat at his wooden table, a bright lamp shining down on his sketchbook. His pencil danced across the page, making quick, light lines. Tom loved to draw. He could spend hours lost in his own world, creating new creatures and faraway lands. Tonight, he was drawing a dragon. Not a scary, fire-breathing dragon, but a friendly one with big, kind eyes and scales that shimmered like a rainbow. He imagined it flying through fluffy clouds, its wings catching the sunlight. He hummed a little tune as his pencil moved, adding tiny details to the dragon's face, making it look happy and wise. The apartment was quiet, except for the rain. Tom liked the quiet. It helped him think, helped him dream up all the amazing things he put into his drawings. Sometimes, his cat, Mittens, would curl up on his lap while he drew, purring softly. But tonight, Mittens was fast asleep on the big, comfy armchair, a little ball of orange for dreaming cat dreams. Tom smiled to himself, feeling happy and peaceful. The world outside could be wild and wet, but inside, his world was warm and full of colors. He was just adding the last swirl to the dragon's tail when a sound cut through the steady rain. Knock, 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 it was loud and firm, making Tom jump a little. He dropped his pencil, and it rolled off the table, landing with a soft thud on the rug. Tom blinked. Who could that be? It was late, and the rain was still coming down in sheets. He wasn't expecting anyone. His friends usually called or texted before they came over, especially on a stormy night like this. He looked at the clock on the wall. It was past 8 o'clock. Too late for a casual visit, he thought. He waited, hoping maybe he had imagined it, or that whoever it was would just go away. But then, knock, 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 again, louder this time, like the person outside was getting impatient. His heart started to beat a little faster. He wasn't scared, just very curious. He slowly pushed his chair back, the leg scraping softly on the floor. Mittens stirred in her sleep but didn't wake up. Tom walked slowly towards the front door. He peered through the peephole, a tiny glass circle that let him see who was on the other side. But it was hard to see much. The porch light was on, but the rain was blurring everything, making it look like a watery painting. He could just make out a shape, a person standing there, hunched against the downpour. He couldn't tell who it was. Taking a deep breath, Tom reached for the doorknob. He turned it slowly, the old metal feeling cool under his fingers. He pulled the door open just a crack, letting in a sliver of the cold, wet air. The sound of the rain grew louder, rushing into his cozy apartment for just a second. He peeked out, wondering who would be standing there in such a storm. The cold, wet air pushed into Tom's warm apartment as he opened the door just a tiny bit. The sound of the rain outside grew louder, like a giant shower running right on his porch. He squinted through the narrow space, trying to make out the blurry shape. The porch light made a small yellow circle in the rainy darkness, but it wasn't enough to see clearly. He leaned a little closer, his heart still doing a quick drumbeat in his chest. Then, he heard a small giggle, a sound as bright and bubbly as sunshine. It was a sound he knew well. A smile started to spread across his face even before he fully opened the door. It could only be one person. With a whoosh, he pulled the door wide open, letting in a gust of wind and a spray of rain. And there she was, standing right on his porch, looking like she had just climbed out of a swimming pool with all her clothes on. It was Lily. She was completely soaked. Her bright red hair, usually bouncy and curly, was flat and dark, plastered to her head and shoulders, dripping water down her face and neck. Her simple blue dress, which had probably been light and airy earlier in the day, was now heavy and stuck to her body, making dark, wet patches everywhere. Water ran in little streams down her arms and legs, collecting in puddles around her shoes. She looked like a mermaid who had forgotten how to swim and just landed on his porch. "Lily!" Tom gasped, his eyes wide with surprise. "What in the world? You're absolutely drenched." He could see the tiny droplets of rain clinging to her eyelashes, making them sparkle like little diamonds. Her cheeks were flushed pink from the cold and the excitement of being out in the storm. Despite looking like a drowned puppy, she was grinning, a wide, happy, mischievous grin that always made Tom feel a little giddy. It was her special grin, the one that meant she had a secret, or a fun idea, or both. Water dripped from the hem of her dress onto his welcome mat, making a dark, growing stain. Her shoes, once white sneakers, were now dark gray with mud and puddles. She shivered a little, a quick shake that made more water fly from her hair. But her eyes, bright green like fresh spring leaves, sparkled with an energy that no amount of rain could wash away. "Surprise," she chirped, her voice a little shaky from the cold but full of cheer. She took a step forward, and a small splash sounded on the wood of the porch. I know. I look like a wet cat, right?" She laughed, a light, tinkling sound that always made Tom smile. Tom couldn't help but laugh too, even as he felt a rush of worry for her. "More like a very pretty, very soggy, red-headed mermaid." He reached out, not quite touching her, but making a gesture of invitation. Come in. You'll catch a cold out here." The wind picked up for a moment, swirling around them and pushing more rain towards the doorway. Lily shivered again, a bit more strongly this time. Her arms were wrapped around herself, trying to keep warm. But that happy grin never left her face. She looked like she was having the best adventure of her life, even though she was soaking wet and probably quite cold. She stepped over the threshold, bringing with her the fresh smell of rain and wet earth. Each step she took left a clear, wet footprint on his clean floor, like a trail of little puddles leading into his apartment. Tom quickly closed the door behind her, shutting out the loud symphony of the storm, but the sound of dripping water from Lily was now the new music in his quiet home. He just stared at her for a moment, trying to figure out what was happening. She looked so wild and free, standing there in his living room, dripping water everywhere. It wasn't every day someone showed up at his door looking like they'd just taken a swim in a hurricane. His dragon drawing, still on the table, seemed very far away from this exciting, watery moment. "So," Lily finally said, her grin growing even wider, her green eyes twinkling directly into his, "I have a big favor to ask." She gave another little shiver, then hugged herself tighter, her wet clothes making a squelching sound. "And I promise, it's a good one." Tom just blinked, waiting for her to tell him what this big favor could possibly be. He had a feeling it was going to be an interesting night. Lily stood in Tom's living room, a puddle forming around her feet, her red hair still dripping onto her shoulders. Tom watched her, a mix of concern and amusement on his face. He knew that mischievous grin meant something fun was coming, but he also worried about her being so cold and wet. "A favor?" Tom asked, trying to sound calm, even though his mind was racing. "Lily, you're going to turn into an ice cube. First, let's get you warmed up. Maybe a towel? Or a blanket?" He gestured vaguely towards his bathroom, then towards the couch where a soft, fluffy throw blanket usually sat. Lily shook her head, her green eyes sparkling. No, that's not the favor." "Well, not exactly." She took another small step, and her wet dress made a little squish sound. "The favor is, can I borrow a shirt?" Tom blinked. "A shirt? Of course, you can borrow a shirt. But why just a shirt? You need to get out of those wet clothes entirely." He looked down at her dripping dress and shoes, then back up at her face. Her grin was still there, but now it held a deeper, more playful secret. It wasn't just a request for dry clothes, it was an invitation. "Oh, I know," Lily said, her voice dropping a little, becoming soft and teasing. She leaned forward just a tiny bit, her eyes never leaving his. "But a shirt is a good start, don't you think?" She giggled, a sound that made Tom's cheeks feel warm. "It's my birthday, after all." A girl should get what she wants on her birthday, right? Tom's eyes widened. Your birthday? Today? Lily, why didn't you say anything? I completely forgot. He felt a sudden pang of guilt. How could he forget his best friend's birthday? He had been so caught up in his drawing. I know, she said, her smile not fading. That's why I'm here. To remind you. And to make sure my birthday wish comes true. Her gaze was warm and direct, and Tom could feel his face getting hotter. Her words, make sure my birthday wish comes true, hung in the air, thick with unspoken meaning. It wasn't just about a shirt, it was about the fun, the closeness, the special moments they shared. It was about them. He understood then. The birthday grin wasn't just a happy smile, it was a knowing smile. It was a smile that said, I like you, Tom, and I know you like me too. And tonight, on my birthday, let's just be us. His heart did a little flip. Okay, Tom managed to say, his voice a little husky. He knew exactly what kind of shirt she needed. Not just any shirt, but one of his biggest, softest, most comfortable ones. Something that would feel like a warm hug, something that would make her feel safe and cozy, but also a little daring. All right, birthday girl, he said, trying to sound casual, though his insides were buzzing. Let's get you a shirt. A really good one. He started to walk towards his bedroom, then paused, looking back at her. You really are crazy, showing up in this weather. Lily laughed, a full, joyful sound. Only for you, Tom. Only for you. She followed him, leaving a trail of wet footprints on his floor. The sound of her dripping clothes was a steady rhythm behind him, a reminder of the wild, rainy night and the even wilder, more wonderful surprise she had brought to his door. He could feel the excitement bubbling inside him. This was going to be a birthday to remember, for both of them. He just had to find the perfect shirt. And maybe a big, fluffy towel too, because even if she only wanted a shirt, she still needed to get dry. But the shirt, he knew, was the most important part of her birthday wish. Tom led the way into his bedroom, Lily following closely behind, her wet footsteps leaving a trail across his living room rug. The air in the apartment, once so dry and still, now felt fresh and damp, filled with the scent of rain. He walked over to his dresser, a sturdy wooden piece of furniture that held all his clothes. He opened the top drawer, then the second, looking through his neatly folded shirts. What kind of shirt are you looking for, birthday girl? Tom asked, trying to sound casual, but his heart was still doing little happy dances in his chest. He glanced back at Lily, who was standing by the doorframe, still dripping. Her eyes, bright with mischief, were watching his every move. Oh, you know, Lily said, her voice soft and teasing. Something big. Something comfy. Something that smells like you. She gave a little shrug, and more water flew from her hair. And definitely something that doesn't feel like a wet towel. Tom chuckled, a warm feeling spreading through him. He knew exactly what she meant. He rummaged through his shirts, looking for the perfect one. He passed over his plain white t-shirts, his checkered flannel shirts, and his shirts with small patterns. He needed something special, something that would make her feel cozy and safe, but also a little bit like she was wrapped up in him. His hand finally landed on a soft, dark blue t-shirt. It was one of his favorites, made of old, worn cotton that felt incredibly soft against the skin. It was also a size too big for him, which meant it would be even bigger and cozier on Lily. It had a small, faded picture of a crescent moon and a few tiny stars on the front. It was a shirt he often wore when he was drawing late at night, a shirt that held the faint, comforting smell of his laundry detergent and his own unique scent. How about this one? Tom asked, pulling it out and holding it up. The dark blue fabric looked even softer under the bedroom light. It's super soft, and it's pretty big. It should keep you warm. Lily's eyes lit up as she saw the shirt. She took a step closer, her smile widening. Oh, that's perfect, Tom. It looks so soft. She reached out and gently touched the fabric, her wet fingers leaving a tiny damp spot. And it's blue, my favorite color. Tom felt a blush creep up his neck. He was glad she liked it. He held it out to her. Here, take it. And you know where the bathroom is. There's a big fluffy towel in there, too. You should really dry off your hair. Lily took the shirt from him, her fingers brushing against his. The touch sent a little shiver down Tom's arm. She held the soft blue fabric to her chest, looking at it with a pleased expression. Thank you, Tom, she said, her voice a little softer now, a little more serious. This is a really nice birthday gift. Anytime, Lily, Tom replied, his voice a bit rougher than he intended. He wanted to say more, to tell her he was glad she was here, glad she thought of him on her birthday, glad she was willing to be so bold. But the words caught in his throat. Lily then turned and walked towards the bathroom, which was just off the hallway from his bedroom. As she went, Tom noticed how the wet dress clung to her, outlining her shape clearly. He quickly looked away, feeling his face grow even hotter. He heard the bathroom door click shut softly. He stood there for a moment, just listening to the rain outside and the quiet in his apartment. He could hear the faint sound of water running in the bathroom, probably Lily drying her hair or maybe just getting out of her wet clothes. He tried to busy himself, walking back to his drawing table. He picked up his pencil, but his hand felt shaky. The friendly dragon on his page seemed to wink at him, almost as if it knew the secret excitement that was now filling his apartment. He couldn't focus on his drawing anymore. All he could think about was Lily in his bathroom, getting out of her wet clothes, and about the soft blue shirt he had just given her. He wondered what she would do next. His mind raced with possibilities, each one making his heart thump a little faster. He knew this night was just beginning, and something special was about to happen. He just had to wait. The soft click of the bathroom door echoed in the sudden quiet of Tom's apartment. He stood by his drawing table, his pencil still in his hand, but his mind was miles away from the friendly dragon on the page. All he could hear was the gentle hum of the rain outside and the rapid thump-thump of his own heart. He tried to focus on his drawing, to make the dragon's scales shimmer just right, but his thoughts kept drifting back to Lily. He imagined her in the bathroom. The large, fluffy towel he kept hanging by the shower, perhaps wrapped around her bright red hair. He pictured her peeling off the wet, clingy blue dress, shivers running down her spine as the cold air touched her skin. He hoped the bathroom was warm enough for her. He had turned the heat up a little earlier because of the storm, so it should be nice and cozy in there. Then, he thought about the shirt. His soft, dark blue t-shirt, the one with the crescent moon and stars. He pictured her slipping it over her head. The fabric would be cool at first, then quickly warm up from her skin. It would be big on her, much too big, probably falling past her knees like a little dress. He smiled at the thought. It was a sweet image, a bit silly, but very Lily. A few minutes later, the sound of the bathroom door opening softly made Tom jump. He spun around, trying to look casual, as if he hadn't been standing there, waiting and wondering. Lily stepped out, and Tom's breath caught in his throat. She wasn't wearing her wet blue dress anymore. Instead, she was wearing his dark blue t-shirt. And nothing else. The shirt was indeed very big on her. It hung loosely, falling well past her hips, almost to her knees, like a comfortable, oversized nightshirt. The sleeves were long, covering her hands, making her look small and cozy. Her red hair, though still a bit damp, was no longer plastered to her head. It was now a soft, wavy cloud around her face, making her green eyes stand out even more. She looked warm, comfortable, and utterly beautiful. But it wasn't just how the shirt fit her that made Tom's cheeks flush bright red. It was the fact that she was wearing only the shirt. Her bare legs peeked out from underneath the hem, smooth and pale against the dark blue fabric. Her feet, small and delicate, were bare on his rug. The sight was both surprising and exactly what he had expected when she asked for just a shirt. Lily stood there, right in the middle of his living room, looking at him with that same mischievous, knowing grin. It was even wider now, a little triumphant. She slowly turned around, a graceful, playful spin that made the soft fabric of the shirt swirl around her. "Fits perfectly," she said, her voice a soft whisper, almost a purr. Her eyes were fixed on Tom's face, watching him, enjoying the way his cheeks were turning a deep shade of red. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she was clearly having fun with it. Tom couldn't speak. His mouth felt dry, and his mind was a jumble of thoughts and feelings. He was happy she was warm, happy she looked so comfortable, and completely, utterly flustered by her bold confidence. The friendly dragon on his page seemed to be laughing at him now, its rainbow scales shimmering with amusement. This was definitely a birthday to remember. Lily's soft whisper of "fits perfectly" seemed to hang in the air, a playful challenge. She watched Tom's face, her grin widening even more as his cheeks turned a deep, rosy red. He looked like a ripe tomato, and she found it utterly charming. The big, soft blue shirt felt wonderful against her skin, warm and comforting after the cold, drenching rain. It smelled faintly of Tom, a mix of clean laundry and something uniquely him, a comforting scent that made her feel safe and happy. She did another slow, graceful spin, the hem of the shirt swirling around her bare thighs. It was exactly what she wanted. Not just the shirt, but the look on Tom's face, the surprise, the shyness, and the clear warmth in his eyes. This was her birthday, and this was her wish coming true. She loved how easy it was to be silly and bold with Tom, how he always met her with a kind heart and a flustered, endearing blush. "What's wrong, Tom?" she teased, taking a step closer to him. Her bare feet made no sound on the rug, making her seem to float towards him. "Cat got your tongue?" Tom finally managed to stammer. "No, nothing's wrong, Lily. It's just. You look good. And comfortable. But also very bare." He gestured vaguely at her legs, which were now much closer to him. He was trying to sound normal, but his voice cracked a little at the end. Lily laughed, a bright, clear sound that filled the living room and made Mittens, the cat, stir on the armchair. "Bare? Oh, Tom. It's just a shirt. A very nice, very big shirt." She stopped right in front of him, her head tilted slightly, her green eyes sparkling. "And you said I could borrow a shirt. You didn't say I had to wear anything else with it, did you?" He couldn't argue with that. She had him there. His mind was still trying to catch up with his heart. He had known she meant more than just a shirt, but actually seeing her standing there, so free and confident in his favorite blue t-shirt, was a whole different thing. It was more wonderful and more nerve-wracking than he had imagined. "No, I guess I didn't," Tom admitted, a small smile finally breaking through his blush. He couldn't stay flustered forever, not with Lily looking at him like that. He reached out a hand, hesitating for a moment, then gently took her wet dress from the floor where she had dropped it. "Let's at least get this in the laundry room before it makes a permanent puddle." As he bent down, Lily watched him, her smile soft. He was always so thoughtful, so careful. That was one of the many things she loved about him. She knew he was a little shy, a little quiet, but underneath that, he had a big, warm heart. And tonight, she wanted to see that heart fully open. Tom disappeared into the small laundry room off the kitchen. Lily used the moment to look around his apartment. It was just as she remembered it, neat, cozy, filled with books and art supplies. His dragon drawing still lay on the table, half finished, its friendly eyes seeming to gaze at her. She walked over to it, admiring his talent. He really was so good. When Tom returned, he found Lily looking at his drawing. "It's beautiful, Tom," she said without turning around. "Your dragon is so kind. It looks like it wants to give you a hug." He came up beside her, looking at his own work. "Thanks, Lily. I like to think he's a friendly dragon." He glanced at her, standing there in his shirt, her bare legs peeking out. He felt a different kind of warmth now, a quiet happiness settling in his chest. The initial shock was fading, replaced by a comfortable ease. This was Lily, after all. His best friend. And she was here, celebrating her birthday with him, in his shirt. So, Lily said, turning to face him again, her playful grin back in full force. Now that I'm warm and perfectly dressed, what do you say we actually celebrate my birthday? She reached out and gently took his hand, her fingers warm and soft against his. I was thinking maybe a movie? Or maybe you could teach me how to draw a friendly dragon? Her eyes sparkled, hinting at even more fun to come. Lily's hand felt warm and soft in Tom's, a comforting warmth that chased away the last bits of his shyness. Her green eyes, still sparkling with that playful birthday mischief, held his gaze. The rain continued its gentle patter outside, but inside, the apartment felt brighter, cozier, filled with a new kind of magic. A movie or drawing a dragon? Tom repeated, a smile finally settling on his face. He squeezed her hand gently. How about both? We can put on a movie, and I can show you some tricks for drawing while we watch. He liked the idea of being close, sharing his passion with her, especially tonight. Lily's smile widened. Perfect. That sounds like the best birthday plan ever. She gave his hand another squeeze before letting go, heading towards the big, comfy couch. She curled up on one end, tucking her bare feet beneath her, the soft blue shirt draping around her like a warm cloud. What movie should we watch? Something funny? Or maybe a cartoon with lots of dragons? Tom chuckled, walking over to his movie shelf. How about something with adventure? We can still pretend my dragon is flying through it. He picked out an old favorite, a movie with brave heroes and faraway lands. He put it into the player, and soon the soft sounds of music and adventure filled the room. He joined Lily on the couch, sitting a little closer than usual. The soft fabric of her shirt brushed against his arm, a gentle reminder that she was wearing his clothes, sharing his space in a way she never had before. It felt right, comfortable, and wonderfully special. As the movie started, Tom reached for his sketchbook and a fresh pencil. All right, Professor Tom is ready to teach, he whispered, a playful glint in his eye. First, you need to think about what kind of dragon you want to draw. Is it big and scaly, or small and fluffy? Lily leaned closer, watching his hand as he sketched a few basic shapes. Her head was close to his shoulder, and he could smell the faint, fresh scent of her damp hair, mixed with the clean smell of his shirt. It was a wonderful smell. She mused, I think I want a dragon that's really, really happy. Like, super happy to see its best friend. Tom's heart did another little flip. He smiled, drawing a large, round eye with a friendly crinkle at the corner. A happy dragon it is. And what about its wings? Big ones for flying fast, or small ones for gliding? They spent the next hour like that, the movie playing softly in the background, as Tom guided Lily's hand. He showed her how to make the scales look real, how to draw the fire, though her dragon's fire was more like a warm, friendly puff of smoke, and how to give it a big, cheerful smile. Lily was a quick learner, and soon her page was filled with tiny, happy dragons, each one a little different. Every now and then, Lily would lean back, her head resting against his shoulder, admiring her drawings. Look, Tom. This one looks just like your dragon, but a little bit sillier. She pointed to a drawing with a dragon doing a silly dance. Tom wrapped an arm around her, pulling her a little closer. It's wonderful, Lily. All your dragons are wonderful. He felt completely at ease, completely happy. The rain outside seemed to have calmed down, now just a soft whisper against the windows. The world outside, with its storms and worries, felt a million miles away. Lily yawned, a soft, sleepy sound. She snuggled deeper into his side, the big blue shirt rustling softly. This was the best birthday ever, Tom, she mumbled, her voice thick with sleep. Thank you for the shirt. And the dragons. And for everything. Tom looked down at her, her eyes already drooping. He gently kissed the top of her head, right where her soft red hair met his shirt. Happy birthday, Lily, he whispered. Happy birthday. He knew this night was more than just borrowing a shirt. It was about a quiet understanding, a shared warmth, and the promise of many more happy moments to come. He would remember this birthday for a very long time.